Good afternoon and welcome to another Rams Review podcast preview show. And it's a humdinger, it's a belter of a show today. And we're going to preview a game which has everyone's lips tingling, certainly in Derby, and that's the FA Cup third round tie at home to Leeds United. And who better to talk all Leeds United than the old foe and their current upturn in form? Now they're in the promised land of the Premier League. Is Adonis Storr, who hosts the Roaring Peacock podcast, is a freelance journalist and writes also for BBC Sport representing Leeds United. Adonis, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Holty. You all right?
I'm very well, and thank you so much for joining me. Well, it's a humdinger of a tie for Derby County, certainly getting many call the old foe back to Pride Park on Sunday. How are Leeds United taking it as a tie? Are they excited about it, or is it just a formality to them that it's an easy task in going into the fourth round?
Well, if it's your cup final, then it's probably also ours because we often get dumped out of the cup at the earliest opportunity. So I mean, it's always good to play Derby because there is a little bit of history there, obviously with Cloughie in the '70s and all that, and then more recently with Frank Lampard and Bielsa with Spygate and the PowerPoint presentation on how the 40-minute PowerPoint on how to beat Derby County. So there's a little bit of needle and it makes for a little bit of more spice than just playing, losing to Histon or whatever. Some postman, part-time amateurs.
Did you ever see that 40-minute presentation? Just out of interest.
Yeah, I watched all of Bielsa's press conferences. To me, it was like the Sermon on the Mount every week. It was for anybody who loves football, just listening to him talk about football, the mechanics of it, the technicalities of it, and just how hard of a worker he is as well. Watching four games at the same time. Working 16-hour days every single day, and being sort of scientific about it. When he was touring the facility, the academy, originally he had sleep booths put in, and he had the PowerPoints moved millimeters, but also the humanity of him, the humility of him. He always talks about the fans being the most important thing in football, and the most forgotten thing in this sort of age of commercialism and not really liking modern football at all, and being a bit of a throwback. So I think any fan base that he goes to absolutely adores him, and yeah, that was an interesting insight into his scouting reports.
Well, let's move it quickly forward to scouting reports. And what would Daniel Farkas think of Derby County at the moment? Because obviously you're sitting fairly pretty, 16th in the Premier League at the moment, 22 points and a recent upturn of form. It wasn't looking so good sort of pre-Christmas time. What's been the difference? What's been the change that's allowed Leeds to sit more comfortably at the moment?
So we were 2-0 down at Manchester City, uh, staring six defeats in seven in the face, and dropped into the relegation zone. I think we were 18th. And there was a feeling of deja vu of becoming a yo-yo club, as they say, becoming the Norwich, if you like. Installing Daniel Farker and turning into Norwich. But he was quite stubborn, so you could set your clock by his substitutions. They'd always come on the 70th minute. Speaking of Bielsa, there was one press conference where he named his starting 11. Uh, but Danny Farker didn't have to do that because we already knew exactly who he was going to play. But 2-0 down at the Etihad, and he changed his football philosophy from a possession based 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 to a counter-attacking 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, and it worked. And there are very few times, I think, where, unless you get a new manager bounce, where there's a complete transformation of a football side's philosophy and base formation. And even if there is, it can take a little time to install that. It can take weeks. It can take months. He did it in 15 minutes at the Etihad against Pep Guardiola. And we came out there and we won that second half. We won it 2-1. We lost the game 3-2. It was 6 defeats in 7, but that was a turning point, and he's employed that formation ever since, with a few tweaks. So we beat Chelsea 3-1. We drew against Liverpool 3-3, and in that Liverpool game, that was the start of is this really going to work long term? What he did against Crystal Palace was really interesting, because we set up in a sort of 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 out of possession, but then when we were in possession of the ball, he moved more to a sort of 4-2-3-1, with Joe Rodon switching to almost like a winger. So he's shown that he can be tactically a little bit different, astute, and also play the game of football like a game of chess against the other manager. He's been unpredictable. He's been aggressive with his substitutions. They've often worked, and now we're on an unbeaten run of, I think it's 7. We're 8 points clear of the relegation zone, with the opportunity to go 11 points clear tonight with a cheeky win against Newcastle. And we can dream again, and we can think, this could be the start of establishing ourselves as a Premier League club.
Well, bringing it to tonight, and obviously the importance of the game, with the result last night, with Forest doing you a favour. I hate to say that, but obviously they got home with that 2-1 late win last night. That obviously sits hugely in your favour and should give you even more confidence, especially going into tonight unbeaten in 5. Do you feel that the selection of the squad on Sunday against Derby will reflect on tonight's game, or do you think there'll be wholesale changes, whatever the result of this evening's game?
I don't think he'll change. I don't think he'll change the whole starting 11, but I think he'll make significant changes, because it's the crunch period. We've had a lot of games. We've picked up a few injuries to a couple of key players like Rodon, and Dan James is still out. So I think it's been a tough time. But he wouldn't want to stop that momentum. So we've built some momentum here, and if we can keep it going tonight. Look, the most important thing, isn't beating Derby in the FA Cup. The most important thing for us is staying in the Premier League. So I'd expect him to make a few changes for the weekend. That's for sure. Yeah.
That surprises me coming from you, and I say that in a sense of, would Leeds United look at the FA Cup as a potential target for silverware? Because, as you know, the top clubs, the top 6 of the Premier League, don't tend to now see it as a priority tournament, should we say, which is disappointing for many football lovers as me and yourself. Do you see that Leeds would miss an opportunity of not going for this, or do you think they've got enough depth outside the Premier League, 15, 16 players, you say, to sort of keep going through this tournament and then relook at it sort of quarter-final stage?
I mean, how many sides are in the FA Cup? Is it 92? We've won the FA Cup once in our history, right? 1972. So it's and that was when we had probably the best side in the world. So I don't think it should be a priority for any team, really, unless you get to the sort of the quarterfinals, semi-finals. Then you can start thinking, okay, we've got a real chance here. But early stages. I mean, there's not. Every football fan wants to win win the FA Cup. I loved it when Crystal Palace did it. I was supporting them, and there has been a real monopoly in football since the Premier League sort of established itself, and then you had Roman Abramovich come in and changing the game, and then all of a sudden it's become a sort of a playground for billionaires and state investment funds. So that's just the state of modern football. So it's so difficult to stay in the Premier League, and that's the ultimate aim. I mean, we spent 16 years outside of the Premier League, where I think the sixth most supported club in the country. We've got a huge history. Leeds is a one club city. It's a massive. It's just a massive club, and it was only because of Peter Isdale that we sort of dropped out of the Premier League. But in terms of the fan base, in terms of the size of the club, we need to be in the Premier League. I think it's a better Premier League with Leeds in it, despite having billionaire owners ourselves, we are underdogs, and so I think you've got to be realistic about these things. Everybody would love to win an FA Cup, but it's just not realistic. All of our resources have to go into competing with teams who are spending more in the summer than multiple valuations of our entire club.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point because we looked at it obviously in similar with similar eyes. I would say that obviously for a championship club, it's always beneficial to have someone like Leeds United at home, third round. We expect to be 30,000 there. I know Leeds are bringing 5,500 because it's always that historical rivalry, and everyone wants to see a Derby Leeds game. And we thank Franny Lee and Norman Hunter for that, and we can bring forward, like I said, Spygate, etc. But I'm going to bring someone to the front to see if he'll have any attention on Sunday. That's Jayden Bogle. Obviously, Mr. Bogle played for us on that infamous game where we turned around the impossible in the playoffs, and he was one of the gentlemen who referred many comments to Spygate with certain actions he made on the pitch regarding. Well, let's say he did that a couple of times. How was that signing sort of received at Leeds United? Was there a little bit of hang on a minute, or was there the water well and truly under the bridge?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's banter, isn't it? We're all. I always think, when there's a football tragedy, for example, that's when the mask comes off, and you see the football community come together and support each other. Maybe not as much as we support our own sides. But for those brief moments, there's a lot of empathy, and you saw it when the European Super League reared its ugly head, and there were mass protests across all different fan bases, because that heritage and that tradition is important to us. And I think we understand banter more than any. I mean, more clubs sing "We all hate Leeds scum." They have it in their chants than any other hate song for any other club. So it became a tradition. I don't know why in the 60s and 70s to just hate dirty Leeds. And if you look on those football banter chants, we've got double the amount of chants about hating us than the next most hated side, which I think is Man United. So we take all of that with a pinch of salt, and it's definitely water under the bridge. And I feel like with Jayden Bogle, we got somebody who is a fantastic talent, extremely underrated, extremely undervalued, and we got him for cheap off Sheffield United. And I think when you sign players, there's never really any sort of history going back to think, well, what did you do then or there? It's brilliant. It's like if you're wearing this shirt, then then you're one of us now. And anything that happened before is just completely irrelevant. It's going the other way that's the problem. So anybody who joins Manchester United, for example, from Leeds, that would be a big problem for us.
But did you sign Daniel James from there? I can't remember.
We did, yes, yeah. We tried to sign him from Swansea. Deal was in place. He came to Ellen Road. He'd done his medical. He'd signed his contract. He'd taken the promo photos. And
Wow.
then Hugh Jenkins refused to pick up his phone to sign the paperwork on their end to get the deal done in January. So he remained a Swansea player, and then they sold him in the summer to Manchester United.
The dark arts of the
Yeah.
football transfer window. Yeah, we've heard many stories. We tried to sign a guy from Birmingham on deadline day, and I don't know what happened, but yeah, similar story came out. Let's talk quickly about a guy that's currently on form, and will we see him at Darwin? That's DCL, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who seems to have rejuvenated his career. And I must say, I've always rated him. You know, he's only 29, I believe, and he's still got many years to give. Where's this resurgence of form come from with Calvert-Lewin? Is it the formation that you discussed at the start of the pod, or is it just the fact you've got a quality player, just need an arm around him?
Yeah, I think it's both those things. I think I wasn't the biggest fan of the signing at the start, because if you look at his stats, his expected goals minus goals, he's underperformed. He's not the greatest finisher. He's quite inefficient in front of goal with his feet. And early on, you saw that he had a few good chances, one-on-ones, and he missed them, sort of shanked it. But the one thing he is good at, I mean, he's not just good; he's world class. Is with his head, and when you've got a weapon like that, then that is so unique and so special. Then what you need to do is you need to find a way to play to their strengths. This is why I'd like us to buy somebody who can put in a quality ball consistently from open play, because the wingers we have are more tricky. They're more designed for a 4-3-3 system where they cut inside and they're the ones who shoot. What we need is somebody who can put the ball in consistently and find Dominic Calvert-Lewin's head, because the chances that he gets on his head, he puts them away. There are very few better headers of the ball. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen any player who is as good at heading as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So there's that, and then there's the other side of it where Danny Farker was a striker himself, and he instills confidence in players. He does put his arm around them. I don't think he's so capable of getting the hairdryer out. I think he goes more the other way, which is exactly what you need when you're a striker. You need confidence. You need simple messaging. You need the game to be simplified. And in terms of the formation, which you talked about, I was a striker myself. I always needed or preferred a strike partner. I always loved playing in a 2 up top, and I grew up watching that football, and that just makes sense to me. I see the game of football as a game of partnerships. You know, you have a centre-back partnership, you have your midfield partnership, and you have it up top as well, and full-backs and wingers. And when those partnerships, when each player learns the other player's game, they start to work like almost like cogs in a machine, and everything's turning and everything's smooth, and I think the difference is with the 3 up top, you're, as a striker, you get very, very isolated. You have to do a lot of running. You're expected to lead the press from the front, which is what they always talk about, but you are in charge of so much space, the most amount of space on the field as a lone player, as a lone striker, and that is, I think it's isolating, it's demoralizing. And when you've got two up top, then he can work off each other. What he's really good, he's great in the air. So what does that mean? It means that when we lump the ball up forward, as we have to do in the Premier League, we can't do any more tiki-taka. That's how you go straight back down. Like, look at Burnley or Southampton, or Leicester. So we have to lump it up top. He wins every single ball that you send up to him. Now, if he's on his own, there's nobody there to collect those flick-ons. So that's one side of it. And then the other side of it is that, where is a striker best? He's best in the box. He's best near that 5-yard box. He's best near that penalty spot. And if you look at his goal map, every single goal has been in a little ant line towards the middle of the goal. So it's also helped him get in the right positions.
He has this skill set which is so unique where he hangs in the air. You know, I can think of Ronaldo possibly as another gentleman who has that skill just to stay there and hold strength even out of balance off the ground. It is an incredible art, and Calvert-Lewin is probably the best in the Premier League at doing it. I agree with you. Just quickly then going on to Sunday, who do you expect to see representing Leeds United on that pitch? And is there anyone in particular that has a point to prove to the Leeds fans or to the manager, or do you believe that the strength that will be put on the pitch has a reputation anyway and just is unfortunate not to get into the starting 11 due to the strength in depth that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on outgoings. So, you know, it's a weird time in January, because especially if you're expecting to do a bit of business, and I'm expecting Leeds to do a little bit of business. And I think that with the PSR restrictions, we'll probably have to get rid of a few players in order to bring somebody in. So that complicates any sort of predictions you might make, because normally I would say, well, Jack Harrison hasn't played in a long time. Joel Piroe hasn't had many minutes. So I'd be looking at players like that to come in. And maybe a bit of youth as well. So you've got Harry Gray, you know, continuing on the Gray dynasty at Leeds United. And yeah, just a few fringe players like that who you'd like to see get minutes. But obviously massive complications now with the January transfer market coming up, and a lot of rumours about Jack Harrison going to Valencia or other places. So yeah, a little bit more difficult than normal to make a prediction.
I'd gladly have Jack Harrison do a cameo role on Sunday against us and then sign for us on the Monday. I think he's a player that's always been a thorn in many teams' side, and I would love to see him in a Derby shirt. So finally, how do you see the game going? Have you seen Derby at all this season? And obviously, we are the most mid-table team of all mid-table. I think we until we got beat by Wrexham, or Hollywood as we call them, Hollywood FC. We were 1-8, drawn 8, lost 8 with a 0 goal difference.
Wow.
Do you see? I know you, and 12th, by the way, and 12th. You couldn't get more mid-table bonkers. Do you see us being a threat, honestly?
I think when you're mid-table, that's when you take the mid-table in the Championship. That's when you take the cup the most seriously, I guess. There's probably no danger of you guys getting relegated. There's probably not that much chance of you getting promoted. I mean, you might make the playoffs. You know, upturn in form, maybe bring in a loan player or somebody on the free, or do you know what I mean, who can transform your season. We got Pablo Hernandez, for example, on a loan in January one year, and he massively transformed our team and our fortunes, just having a playmaker like that. So there's always the potential, but yeah, I think in the cup where we are awful. I don't know why. We just don't go on cup runs, and we get embarrassed. And we're just like we're the banter side that lose in the third or fourth round consistently every single year. So yeah, with the cup, anything could happen, and yeah, I'd give you guys a chance for sure. Why not? If I were you guys, I'd be going for it. I'd be thinking, give us a cup run. If we get Manchester United or somebody like that in the round after, what a big boost to the finances that would be. Does that allow us to dip into the market and get somebody who can transform our season? Could we build momentum off this? Could we get a massive amount of confidence, rippling through the squad with a win like this? So, yeah, I think oddly enough, you'd rather play somebody who's got a lot on the line for the season at the top of the Championship, who has to rest players who can't afford any injuries, or at the bottom, who are in the same boat, and then in the middle, you guys who are just like, well, we might as well go for it.
Yeah, it's a dilemma, I think, for Derby, certainly for Eustace, because we've had you know what it's like being in the Championship. You play 6 games in something like 18, 19 days. It takes its toll on a threadbare squad as we've got already. So there is talk at the moment of, will Eustace go for it? We've got 3 or 4 potential players to come back. Will his Leeds one of those physical games? And it will be physical. I know you'll try and play Premier League style football, but inevitably sometimes you always come across 2 teams who just come onto a piece of grass. They throw skill sets out the window and just smash into each other. And how do you think it'll go? Where'd you head at regarding the score?
Well, it's interesting that you should say about Premier League football, because Premier League football now, for us, is solid at the back, block the passing lanes, go man for man at times, lump it up forward to the big man who's going to knock it down to the other guy up front, and then every opportunity we're talking throw-ins on the 35-yard line. We're talking free kicks on five yards into their half. Every single time you get an opportunity like that, it's send the big lads up in the box, get it in the mixer. So this is Premier League football at the moment. It's not just us doing that. It's a lot of teams. So, what was the question?
Who's going to win? That's basically it.
Who's going to
win? To quickly shorten that question, who's winning it, how, and what score?
Right. Well, I guess I've been a Leeds fan. I mean, I was destined from birth, being born here and into a Leedsman family. But I guess my first game was in 1993. I don't think I've ever predicted Leeds to lose.
Yeah, we're all optimists. Adonis.
So gonna have to say, I think we'll do it the hard way though. I think we might win in extra time. Is there extra time, or is
it is, isn't it? Or does it go straight? I can't remember if it goes straight to penalties or extra time. I think it's penalties, isn't it? Yeah,
who knows? Well, we're gonna win by the seat of our pants, but the very hard way, the most difficult, hardest way possible. We'll probably pick up an injury to a key player that we brought on needlessly as a substitute in the 70th minute. There'll probably be some controversy for either side. Not sure who, because the referees, they're so unpredictably bad at times. But yeah, let's say 2-1 to Leeds. Yeah.
I'm the same. I go on the local radio derby quite a few times, and I always come up with the ridiculous score predictions, and I don't think I've ever got one right in 10 years. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 derby. I think this game's going to be one of those games where the ball is in the air far more than it's on the grass. The way you recreated your style of football to me then is basically me watching Derby County week in, week out. we play exactly the same way. We don't know how to play tiki-taka football because we don't have players who can string three passes together. So, but Adonis, it's been a laugh. Always has been. Talking Leeds United with your good self. Where can fans listening and watching on this review catch up with some of your fantastic uh, writing and blogs and social media? Because I know that you're a very busy man. Where can we catch up with all this stuff?
Right. Well, yeah. To all the Derby fans out there, if you'd like to listen to some Leeds United views,
Which would be good. I don't think they should.
consume some Leeds content.
And they should. They should. It'll be hilarious. Get someone on.
I am at the Adelites on Twitter, and you can read me on the Leeds United page of BBC Sport, and I'm also the host of the Roaring Peacock podcast.
And just finally, before I let you go, quick question: Are Forest going down?
No, I don't think so. I think that last night put to bed that I did enjoy West Ham thinking that they were 2 up, and then it was 1-1 minutes later, and then the crestfallen face of Nuno. I did enjoy that. No, I don't think Forest are going down. I think the relegation clubs have pretty much been decided. There are 3. There's one. West Ham are rotten to the core, and Wolves are gone. I mean, I've never seen a team with that low points at this time of the season. I don't think.
It's us.
Right. Yes.
It's us.
Yeah, of course.
We hold the record, so we're hoping
yeah.
that they stay shit. To be honest.
Right. They're closing in on your record. Take it off your hands.
Yeah, stay shit. Rob Edwards doing a great job. Although they won their last game, they got 4 points out of the last 6. No, I agree. I think it isn't going to change. I just wanted an optimist Leeds fan to give me some joy into the new year, but alas, that's not going to be. Adonis, it's been amazing as ever.
Cheers, Salty.
I wish you all the best for the rest of the season. I think you'll be fine. I'm hoping that we do one over on you on Sunday, but in the meantime, enjoy the Premier League, enjoy all the success you deserve, and thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, Salty. Come on, Leeds.
No problem. That's the Rams review preview show with Adonis. I've got one thing left to say. Ignore that gentleman there. Come on, you Rams.